for this class. Perfect. Okay, so we'll start off with Mangalacharan, and then we'll proceed into the class. Om Jnana Tirmahannasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Surato Pangor Mama Mandir Mater Gati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpatrumadaha Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanasto Srimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Prashtali Sevyamano Smaramin Shriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamsi Vatatatastitaha Karshan Venusvaner Gopi Gopinata Shriyestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya cha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, today we are reading once again from the second canto, 9th chapter, 33rd verse, and the first verse of the Chaturshloki Bhagavad. And the chapter name is... if somebody could remind me what the chapter name is, I have it here. The chapter name is Answers by Citing the Lord's Version. So, what we'll do, okay, I'll do Om Namo Bhagavate first because we don't have the call and response, and then we'll go into the verse and directly into the purport. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chevam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloker Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So, as we said, Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 9th chapter, 33rd verse, and the first verse of the Chaturshloki Bhagavad, the 4 key, seminal, foundational verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'll read the Sanskrit. Aham eva sham eva gre nanyad yad sat asat param paschad aham yad etaccha yo vishyeta sosmyaham. Aham eva sham eva gre nanyad yad sat asat param paschad aham yad etaccha yo vashishyeta sosmyaham, aham eva sam evagre, nanyadyat sad asad param, paschat aham yad etachcha, yo vashishyeta sosmyaham. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Abhay Charanarvindam Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself. Nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead. And after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Abhay Charanarvindam Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, Prabhuji, are you there? I think Mataji said that you've been taking one part of the purport and analyzing it. So, are you on to the last paragraph now?
Yes, we're in the last paragraph.
Is that the paragraph which starts with there is? Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Prabhu. Yeah, it should be the last paragraph. She had mentioned it. I've not been joining before, but she told me the last paragraph.
Okay. So we'll read from where it says Brahmaji. Brahmaji also accepted the same truth when he was instructing Narad. He said, Soyam te bibhitas tata Bhagavan Vishwa Bhavanaha. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.750. There is no other cause of all causes than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. So those of you who are familiar with, actually we'll read it and then I'll give you the point now. Those of you who are familiar with Brahma Samhita, one of the, again, initial verses of the 5th chapter is Ishvara Paramam Krishna, Satchit Ananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. So Sarva means all, Karana, causes, Karanam is the cause. So Brahma is also saying about the Lord, you are the Sarva Karana Karanam. Therefore, this verse, Aham Eva, never indicates anything other than the Supreme Lord. And one should therefore follow the path of the Brahma Sampradaya, or the path from Brahmaji to Narad to Vyasadeva, etc., and make it a point in life to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, or Lord Krishna. This very confidential instruction to the pure devotees of the Lord was also given to Arjun and to Brahma in the beginning of the creation. The demigods like Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, Indra, Chandra, and Varuna are undoubtedly different forms of the Lord for execution of different functions. The different elemental ingredients of material creation, as well as the multifarious energies, also may be of the same personality of Godhead, but the root of them all is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. One should be attached to the root of everything rather than bewildered by the branches and leaves. That is the instruction given in this verse. One should be attached to the root of everything rather than bewildered by the branches and leaves. That is the instruction given in this verse. That's a very interesting point. And Srila Prabhupada makes the point throughout his commentaries that we have so many so-called responsibilities in this world. We have so many so-called duties and pursuits that we absolutely must conduct. But Srila Prabhupada says, taking care of all of these duties individually is like going to a vast tree with hundreds of branches and thousands of twigs and tens of thousands of leaves, and individually trying to water each leaf. It's practically impossible. But if one goes to that same tree and devotes water to the roots, directs water to the roots, automatically all of the branches, all of the twigs, and all of the leaves are replenished. They are satisfied. So in the same way, we have so many unlimited responsibilities in this world, unlimited ways, both, artha, dhamma, kama, moksha, 4 categories, but they are so many sub branches, just for artha, economic development. So many subjects at school, so many subjects, exams to then get into college. You have your undergraduate degree, you have your postgraduate degree, you have continual training, you have so many different evaluations. How many complexities are there just for one of those branches of artha? For your dharma, you have your duty to Mother Earth, you have duty to your nation, you have duty to your forefathers, you have duty to your descendants, you've got duty to every single demigod. How many different categories are there? Artha, dhamma, kama, for enjoyment. If you want to enjoy, you've got to look a certain way, you've got to dress a certain way, you've got to be certain, speak a certain way, know the latest lingo, how to be charming. So many things which are there, so many complexities. But all of these things are automatically fulfilled when you engage in this service of the Supreme Personality of God. That is simply a byproduct. And actually the enjoyment that you derive from becoming the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead far supersedes all of the benefits of engaging in all of these different activities of this world. So not only is it fulfilled, but it's actually surpassed by engaging in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if we move back, we'll do a recap of the class which I gave last week for those of you who weren't here, or just to get us back up to speed. So Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita in Madhya Lila, 25th chapter, 102nd verse, Bhagavatera Sambandha Abhideya Prayojana Chatur Shlokite Prakata Tora Kariyache Lakshana. So Krishnadas Kaviraj in the 25th chapter of Madhya Lila is directly talking about the Chatur Shloki, these 4 most important verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And that verse that he has composed translates to the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam is our relationship with the Supreme Lord, our activities in that connection, and the goal of life. And these 3 things are manifested in the 4 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Chatur Shloki. Everything is explained in those verses. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying everything is explained in these 4 verses. Now, how is that possible? I again drew everyone's attention to 2 verses before. So we're on verse 33. If we go to 2 verses before, Srila Jiva Goswami is the youngest of the 6 Goswamis, but he is known as the Shastri Shiromani, the crown jewel of the Shastra, the crown jewel of the commentators of the Shastra. And Jiva Goswami broke down 2.931, and he pulled out 4 different concepts in this verse. So Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Jnanam Parama Guyam Me, Yad Vijnana Samanvitam, Sa Rahasyam Tad Angam Cha, Grihana Gaditam Maya. So what are the 4 concepts in this verse? Right? The 4 concepts are Jnanam, Vijnanam, Tad Angam, and Sarahasyam. Hopefully everyone can see that. Jnanam is in the first line. Vijnana is in the second line. Tad Angam is at the end of the third line. And Sarahasyam is at the beginning of the third line. And Jiva Goswami says that actually this Sambandha, Abhideya Prayojana, can be explained, further understood by these 4 concepts, Gyan and Vigyan. If you remember last week, we were talking about Gyan and Vigyan, the theoretical knowledge, and then the deep understanding of that knowledge, right? I can be told that a chili is very hot. It's not just hot, it's going to make me weep. It's going to make my stomach churn. It's going to make me, have loose motions for a week. So I may understand that theoretically. But until I've taken the bite until my eyes start watering from the pain, until my tongue, nothing can put out that fire, water after water, gallon after gallon of water on my tongue, milk, yogurt, and the tongue is still on fire. Until I've experienced that, it's not Vigyan. Somebody may still feel, okay, that sounds kind of bad, but let's give it a go. But if you do it once, never again. You never bite into that chili again. So that's the difference between Gyan and Vigyan, knowledge and realized knowledge. Tad anga, necessary paraphernalia. So sambandha is that, and sambandha is the principle of understanding our relationship with everything around us. Remember last week I talked about the 5 topics of the Bhagavad Gita. The 5 topics of the Bhagavad Gita are Jiva, the soul, Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, Prakriti, the material nature. So we are a Jiva within the Prakriti. We are searching for enjoyment, which can only be given by service to the Supreme Lord. So we're trying to reconnect with the Supreme Lord. Kala is time, karma is activity. So we are trying to reconnect with the Supreme Lord through karma, our activity, but it takes kala, time. 5 topics. Now, and we talked about only when people understand how Ishvara, Prakriti, Jiva, Prakriti, Ishvara, karma, and kala interact. Only when you understand how they properly interrelate will it work. You see, most people in the material world, they don't even accept that they have a Jiva. So therefore they fall in. They think they are just the Prakriti, just the material nature. Therefore, the Sambandha Gyan is not there. They don't know how to make the different, they don't even know the different features of material nature. Right? They don't even know the different features of material nature. It's like, I'm trying to make a cake, but the only thing I know is flour. So I just put flour into a bowl and I keep stirring and stirring and stirring and stirring. And I think that somehow a cake is going to pop out. I don't know that there's different ingredients. There's a bit of water, there's a bit of sugar, there's maybe some fruits, there's some cream. I've got to add quantities, a certain amount, leave it, put it into the oven, bring it out, put the cream on top. There's a whole process. That is the Sambandha Gyan, how to understand ourselves. Who are we? How to understand the world with which we're in, how to understand where we're going. This is all part of Sambandha Gyan. Understanding what all the different components of life are. That's Sambandha Gyan. Abhidheya Gyan, as we mentioned last week, is how, after understanding the theory, we then engage in it. So, okay, we understand. We've seen the demonstration. This is how you make a cake. Abhidheya is getting your hands dirty, right? For a devotee, we understand that we are the soul and there's the Supreme Lord, and only true enjoyment is from serving the Supreme Lord. Abhidheya is when we engage in the process of sadhana bhakti and we start to get that taste. We're like, wow, okay, we're doing it. I'm serving, I'm getting the taste. And then the prayojana is the ultimate goal. That is when we are exclusively and fully absorbed in the loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ahoitiki apratihata. It's uninterrupted and it's unmotivated. So Sambandha Abhidheya Prayojana. So this verse, Jnanam Vijnana, that's what Sambandha, that's what you need to have proper Sambandha. You need to understand, not just theoretically, but in a realized way. Yes, I am the soul. I'm not the body. I can see my body aging. I remember when I was a kid and now I'm a middle-aged individual and soon I'll be old and I can feel myself wearing down. But the desire to be energetic must be coming from something beyond the body. It's coming from the soul. That's my Vijnana. Tadanga. I have the paraphernalia. I have my beads. I have my association. I have my temple. I have my book. This is the paraphernalia for actually engaging in this worship of the Supreme Lord. And sarahasya in this verse 2:9:31. With devotional service. This means rahasya, with that devotion. I want that devotion. That is my ultimate goal. So I hope that makes sense. Chaturshloki means Sambandha Abhidheya Prayojana. Sambandha consists of Gyan and Vijnana. Abhidheya consists of the paraphernalia that I need to engage in the Lord's service. Prayojana, the ultimate goal, that ultimate goal is sarahasya. It's the devotional service. So this 2:9:33, the beginning of the Chaturshloki, really is dealing with Sambandha. It's dealing with Sambandha. And again, just to take a step back, Sambandha Abhideya Prayojana, the reason that Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, the reason that Jiva Goswami are putting so much importance on Chaturshloki and Sambandha Abhideya Prayojana is because through this threefold concept, we will understand the Bhagavatam fully. We will understand the Bhagavatam fully. We will understand when information is being given about the futile nature of enjoyment in this material world. That's Sambandha. We will then be able to understand the Abhideya, the selfless service of the gopis to Krishna. Gopi Bharto Padakamalor Das Das Anudas. The servant of the servant of the servant. How, when we are engaging in service, we shouldn't think, wow, I am a great servant. There is no servant like me. Nobody knows the shlokas I know. Nobody cooks the prasad that I can cook. Nobody leads the kirtan that I can lead. No, actually, compared to the cooking of the gopis, our food is like eating sand. Compared to the voices of the gopis, our kirtans are like croaking frogs. Compared to the beauty of the gopis, our face is just unspeakably ugly. And yet the gopis feel like that they are immeasurably unqualified to be there in the service of Sri Krishna. So who are we? So therefore, Gopi Partur Padakamalor Das Das Anudas. We aspire to just be the servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis. That is the way in which we engage in our service, the Abhideya. So when we're reading the Bhagavatam, we're looking for tips on the Sambandha Gyan. We're looking for tips on how to engage in service and in the Prayojana. Naparyaham. Krishna says to the gopis, Naparyaham. The way that you have served me, the love you have given me, there's no way that I can repay you. So when we are looking for our prayojana, when we are looking for have we achieved our perfection, are we so pleasing to Krishna that Krishna says there is no way I can repay you? 17th of September marked the day that after a 35-day voyage across the sea, suffering 2 heart attacks, with virtually no money, no contacts, no mobile phone, email, no contingency plan, Srila Prabhupada set sail on a cargo ship to an unknown land, leaving the comforts and the beauty of Vrindavan behind. That kind of selfless sacrifice can inspire in the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nandanandana, Brajendra Nandana Sri Krishna, Naparyaham. What can Krishna do? What can Krishna do in the face of such sacrifice? Now, when we have achieved that kind of level, that exclusive, unmotivated, uninterrupted devotion, yes, we may be at our prayojana. But we can see, therefore, when we read the Bhagavatam, if we understand that there is some parts of the Bhagavatam are Sambandha, some parts of the Bhagavatam explaining Abhideya, some parts of the Bhagavatam are explaining the prayojana, then we can understand, Bhagavatam stops becoming just a collection of stories, but it starts to become a very practical apparatus for us to fortify our devotional life. And that is the importance of this Chaturshloki Bhagavat. So we are here at Sambandha Gyan. And now this verse, this particular verse, 2.9.33, as I alluded to in the last class, actually it features very heavily, and actually the discussion of the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam features very heavily. Where? In the 25th chapter of the Madhya Lila. Now, the 25th chapter of the Madhya Lila is a very special chapter because it is the chapter wherein Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes the Mayavadis and he converts them to Vaishnavas. It's actually called, let me find that verse. Let me find that chapter. The chapter is actually called, the 25th chapter, how all the residents of Varanasi became Vaishnavas. How all the residents of Varanasi became Vaishnavas. So the fundamental point is that the Mayavadis, and we talked about this, and actually this is why I was hoping that Kirtika Mataji would be with us, because I'm going to go into detail about it now. This verse, or these Chaturashlokis, the Sambandha Gyan, as you can see in this verse, it says aham 3 times. Aham. Aham eva sham eva gre. Nanyad yat sat asat param. Paschad aham yat etajcha. Yo vishyeta so smyaham. So I, the Supreme Lord is saying, I am an individual being. Krishnadas Kaviraj and Jiva Goswami have said, this I is showing that the Supreme Lord is a person. It's not just a concept. It's not just a primordial soup. It is I. It is an individual. Aham, aham, aham. And it's a Vedic injunction. It's a Sanskrit rule that if something is repeated 3 times, it becomes imperative. Like we have a very famous verse. Haryanama, Haryanama, Haryanam, Eva Kevalam. Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyata. So the holy name, the holy name, the holy name, Haryanama, 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 Eva Kevalam, Eva Kevalam, only is the only name. Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyata. In the age of Kali, in the age of Kali, in the age of Kali. So it's imperative. It's given 3 times, so it becomes very clear. So aham, aham, aham. The Lord is saying 3 times that I have been there before the existence. Natto eva ham jatu nasam. Nattam ne me janadibaha. Natcheva na bhavishyamaha. Sarve vayam ataparam. Never was there a time when I did not do this. The Lord is saying, I was there before the creation. When there was nothing but myself. Aham. He's not saying but the Lord, however, but the energy, but Brahman, but Shakti. He's saying, no, it was me, the personality of Godhead. I was there. I was existing before creation. There was no material nature that caused the creation. That which you now see is also I. This is also extension of me. And I will be there thereafter. I, not a force, I, the Lord is saying. So it's imperative. So this beginning of Chaturshloki Bhagavat becomes the fulcrum of our Sambandha Gyan. The fulcrum of our Sambandha Gyan is what? That the Lord is a person. The Lord is not a force. He's not a concept. He's not a tool of Maya by which we can elevate ourselves. No, aham, aham, aham. He's talking about I, the person. So this is important, and I'm going to narrate this part for the benefit, again, of Kirtika Mataji, because she was very keen to understand about the difference of Shunyavad, Nirvisheshavad. You know, we say in Srila Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Paschatadeshatari. He came to remove the Nirvishesha and the Shunyavadi. Nirvisheshvad and Shunyavad are the 2 vads he came to remove. And actually, the beginning of removing Nirvishesha and Shunyavad starts with this verse. And actually, it then builds up to Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva, which is the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It builds up, he gets rid, so the lowest vad is Shunyavad. If I'll give a summary and then we'll work through it. Shunyavad. Shunya means 0. It means that there is nothing. Even the concept of Brahman, an impersonal Lord, is Mayavad. The impersonal Lord doesn't exist. Actually, these Buddhist scholars, they say there is nothing. The ultimate truth is there is nothing. When you achieve the full realization, you realize that you are nothing. Above that is Mayavad. And that is that the ultimate goal is an impersonal God. How can there be nothing? Something can't come from nothing. How can nothing fall into illusion? There's nothing to fall into illusion. So the example is given that a man walks into a dark room and he opens the door and it's dimly lit and he sees something on the floor that looks like a snake and he screams, "Ah, a snake!" And then he lights a lamp and he realizes it's just a rope. So the Shunyavad will say, look, you thought it was a snake, but actually it's a rope. Therefore, there's nothing to worry about. You think that there's fear, but there is no such thing as fear. There is nothing. But then the Mayavadi will say, okay, you were in illusion that there was a snake, but the rope is still real. You can't say that there is nothing. There is not the thing that you thought, but there is still something there. right? You think that this world is real. It's not real, but the Mayavad, the energy behind it is real. You see the difference? It doesn't make sense to say that there is nothing in existence whatsoever. There must be something to fall into illusion. But then the step beyond that, which is what Ramanujacharya established. He said, okay, Mayavad, you say that the snake is not real. The rope is real. But for us to fall into illusion that there is a snake must exist somewhere else. Do you see the difference? So the point is, we may think that we are all powerful, right? But for us to fall into that illusion of being all powerful, the all powerful concept must exist somewhere. Must exist somewhere. You know, if I am hankering, if I take a ball of mud and I put it on an ice cream cone and I think it's chocolate ice cream, no, it doesn't taste like chocolate ice cream. It's mud. But I can only fall into illusion of chocolate ice cream if chocolate ice cream exists somewhere else. You can't say, oh, you thought that was chocolate ice cream. That's mud. Therefore, all chocolate ice cream is mud. No, this may be mud, but that doesn't mean that chocolate ice cream doesn't exist somewhere else. Chocolate ice cream does exist for me to fall into that illusion. So I may see so many people impersonating God. And then people say, ha, told you there is no God. He's a fraud. He's a fraud. He's a fraud. But the fact is, the concept of a supreme absolute being must exist for us to become mistaken about someone else. Who was that? It was that imposter who came as four-armed Narayan in the Krishna book. His name, Pondraka. Pondraka. He stuck on four arms. He said, I am Narayan. And then everyone was laughing at him. He's like, come on, man. These are just fake arms. You're not Narayan. But to become an imitation Narayan, the concept of Narayan must exist. Right? So the Mayavad is defeated in that way. But there's even more subtleties to it. So you have the Shunyavad, the zero, Shunya, zero Vad. Vad means discussion. Those people who like to talk on this concept of zero, no existence. Mayavad, those people who say that everything is Maya and the real understanding is Brahman. They like to discuss on those things. And then you have the Advaitavad. So they're the Advaitavad. Then you have the Dvaitavadis, the duality. Those people who say, okay, the Lord is a person and we are also people. And these Dvaitavadis are actually of four different categories. In fact, five, but four different categories. So these four categories started off with Vishnu Swami. So do you remember last time I said that all philosophy falls into four different sampradayas? You have the Shri Sampradaya, the Brahma Sampradaya, the Rudra Sampradaya, and the Komar Sampradaya. Four sampradayas. If somebody says, come follow me, I'll teach you. You know, he said, I'm a professor. I'm going to come and teach at your college and you just listen to what I say and you'll get full marks. What's the first thing you ask your professor? Okay, professor, where did you study? Who was your professor? If he says, I'm the kind of professor that doesn't need a professor, you say, Hare Krishna Prabhu, very nice. There's the exit. I'll see you next time, right? What is the value of a teacher who's never been a student? So you can know a genuine spiritual teacher when he's been to one of these four universities. The University of Lord Brahma, the University of Lakshmi, Shri, that's the name, Shri, the University of the Four Kumaras, and the University of Lord Shiva. These are the four universities. If you're not part of these four universities, you can't speak on the scriptural knowledge because where is your information coming from? So within these four universities, they gave four slightly different doctrines on the nature of Krishna and the nature of the Jiva. So in the Brahma Sampradaya, they gave Dvaitavad, absolute duality. The Lord is the Lord, and the Jivas are the Jivas. And they've always been completely separate, and they will always continue to be completely separate. Ramanuja, I won't go into so much detail now, but I'll just explain. That's called Dvaitavad. In Lakshmi Sampradaya, a great teacher came called Ramanuja, and he gave Vishishta Dvaitavad. in the Kumar Sampradaya, a great teacher came called Nimbarka, and he gave Dvaita Advaitavad. And finally, in Rudra Sampradaya and Lord Shiva's Sampradaya, they gave Shuddha Dvaitavad. Shuddha Dvait. Shuddha means pure Advaitavad. So the pure teaching. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even though he appeared in Lord Brahma's Sampradaya, Lord Brahma University, he took 2 concepts from each of these 4 teachings, and he added 2 concepts, so 10 concepts, and he made our philosophy, which is Achintya, Beda, Abeda, Tattva. Achintya, Beda, Abeda, Tattva. That is a synthesis of all of the universities plus 2 concepts on top. And if you understand this philosophy, you will understand everything about Sambandha Gyan. You will understand everything about Sambandha Gyan. You will understand clearly. If somebody says to you, well, if you're from God, then you must be God. No, that's not true. If I take a drop of water from the ocean, I can't say I've got the ocean in my hand. Oh, but it's from the ocean. Yes, it may be, it is the same in quality, but it is not the same in quantity, right? I take a handful of water. Yes, I have the ocean. Can't you see it? No, it's not the same. In the same way, the jiva, the living entity, yes, from the Lord, but you can't say that you are the Lord. You're the same in quality, but not in quantity. A cup of seawater, can it make waves? No. Can the ocean make waves? Yes. Cup of seawater, can it destroy a whole city? No. Can an ocean flood a whole city with a tsunami? Yes. A cup of seawater, can you keep whales? Can whales and fish and aquatics and boats sail across it? No. The ocean, yes. Are they both salty? Yes. Are they both wet? Yes. So that's the quality, but the quantity is vastly different, and therefore the nature is vastly different. So achintya, beda, abeda, tattva. Simultaneously the same, but simultaneously different. We are spiritual. The Lord is spiritual. No doubt. We are eternal. The Lord is eternal. We have a form eternally. The Lord has a form. But the Lord, as it said in this verse, was there before, was there during, and will be there after. He is the cause of all causes, the sarva karana karanam. And by going deeply into these, and I'll briefly, I don't want to get too heavy on philosophy, but I feel that this is something which is really not emphasized enough. And if any of you are fortunate enough to go to Mayapur, Srila Prabhupada's guru, who is known as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he made a beautiful temple at the turn of the 20th century, 1900s, 20th century, in Mayapur. And in that temple, he has got the 4 different universities, representatives of the 4 different universities. And underneath that, he has taken the 2 teachings that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken from those universities and brought together. So let's go through those now, because it's quite topical. Because this verse and these teachings is how you will overcome any misconceptions about Mayavad. So from the teachings of Lakshmi Devi, the Lakshmi Sampradaya, there was a great professor or teacher called Ramanuja. And the 2 concepts that he gave, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu really appreciated, was that all devotion should be ananya bhakti. There shouldn't be any sense of what's in it for me. I'm doing it so I can get some material benefit, or I'm doing it so I can further my knowledge, just so I can show how intelligent I am. So ananya bhakti. And also bhakta jana seva, that serving the devotees is as important, if not more important, than serving the Lord. Right? So these are the 2 concepts. You're not doing it for karma or gyan. You're not doing it for benefit or for just to further your knowledge. And you're not engaging in bhakti, or you're engaging in bhakti and primarily you're focusing on serving the devotees. Why do we serve devotees? If there's a billionaire, what can you really do to help a billionaire? Right? He's got the money, he's got the resources. But if the billionaire has a friend who is in trouble and you help that friend, Doesn't the billionaire feel indebted to you? Don't you capture the billionaire's heart in a different way? So in the same way, what can we really do for the Lord? The Lord is the cause of all causes, right? But if we do something for someone who is dear to the Lord, then the Lord is very touched by that mentality. He's very touched by that. So these are the two concepts that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu borrowed from Lakshmi Sampradaya through the teacher, the Acharya Ramanuja. From Madhva, he took two concepts. Number one was Kevale Advaita Nirashana. And I love this. Complete defeat of Mayavad philosophy. Complete defeat. Anyone who tries to suggest that Krishna's form is Maya, that Ram's form is Maya, and this is just an illusion, and you'll go beyond that, you must just destroy that notion. Why? Because if you love someone and someone says that that person doesn't exist, doesn't that break your heart? Doesn't that break your heart? You have a child or you have a parent. They said, a person didn't exist, really. You think that they exist, but it's just something in your mind. No, what are you saying? I know that person exists. I live for that person. Don't you tell me that person doesn't exist. My whole pran dan hai. Sri Madan Mohan pran dan hai. They're my life and soul. Don't tell me that the Lord doesn't. Destroy that notion. Right? So he took this from Madhvacharya. Kevale Advaita Nirashana. And then also worship of the deity of Krishna and understand that the deity of Krishna is non-different from Krishna. Krishna Murti Sevana. So these are the two concepts that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu borrowed from Madhvacharya. Kevala Advaita Nirashana, Krishna Murti Sevana. Destroy the Mayavad tendency and understand the importance of worshipping the deity of Krishna as non-different to worshipping Krishna himself. So that's Brahma. That's from the Brahma University and with Madhvacharya as the great professor in that university. We then have Lord Shiva's Sampradaya, the Rudra Sampradaya. And the great professor in that university is Vishnu Swami. Now, Vishnu Swami, he gave two concepts, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very keen on. The first one is Tadya Sarvasva Bhava. Tadya Sarvasva Bhava. This means that when we conduct our activities, we totally depend on the mercy of Lord Krishna. We totally depend on the mercy of Lord Krishna. We understand that we constitutionally are 1/10,000th the tip of a hair. Not a blade of grass can move in this world without Krishna's will. We desire, no doubt. That doesn't mean that we depend on Krishna, therefore we say, okay, Krishna, get it done. No. I'll sit back here. I'm depending on you, Krishna. You do it. If we're hungry, we don't say, all right, I'm depending on you, Krishna. Go and get it done. Roll the dough, make me my chapatis, offer it to yourself, and then put it in my mouth. No, we have to take the activity, but we realize, Krishna, you give me the Paurashamrish, you're the ability in man. You are the source. You give me the intelligence. Give me the capability. Give me the devotion. We're kripa siddhis. We depend on the Lord's mercy, the Guru's mercy, the Lord's mercy. So Tadya Sarvasva Bhava. We engage with dependence on Krishna. Krishna, you make this a success. Or you make it a failure. You give me the ability, but just make me dance as you like. And then Raga Marga, the path of spontaneous devotional service. You see, of course, we engage in sadhana bhakti, 16 rounds, 4 regulative principles. We engage in preaching. And this is wonderful. And actually, the activity will never change. But sometimes we get up and we think, oh, I wish I could just get back into bed and sleep for another 3 or 4 hours. Just maybe switch on the TV and kick back and relax. If you have somebody that you genuinely love, that you genuinely want to be with, that you genuinely want to see, it's not like, all right, I'm going to get you some flowers and get you a box of chocolates and yeah, I guess we can go out and spend a bit of time together. No, you can't help but want to do those things. You think, only 1 dozen roses, let me get 60 roses. Let me get 5 dozen. Only 1 plate of sweets, let me make 10 sweets. We've spent 24 hours together, why not make it 48? You know, that spontaneous love has to come. That's when you know it's love and not just, going through the motions. And that is what we should aspire for. Sometimes we get these little bursts. Wow, we're in a kirtan and we want to sing more and we want to dance more. And we're serving, we want to serve, we're doing an arti, or we're listening to a class and we feel like waves and waves of love. And then the next day it's like, put on the sports channel and get me a pizza from Domino's and whatever else it may be. So the point is we want to ultimately become that thoughts of serving Krishna, loving Krishna, serving Krishna, being with Krishna, it's just flowing spontaneously. There's no break. So these are the two concepts that we've taken, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken: total dependence on Krishna and spontaneous devotion to Krishna. And that's coming from Lord Shiva's Sampradaya. Then finally, we have the Sampradaya of the four Kumaras. University of the four Kumaras, the great professor there was Nimbarka. And the two concepts that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took from there were Ekanta, Radhika, Ashraya. Ekanta, Radhika, Ashraya. And this is a very deep concept. And this is the necessity of taking exclusive shelter of Srimati Radharani. We depend on Krishna for his empowerment, but we take shelter of Radharani to show us how to depend on Krishna. Our ultimate objective is to depend on Krishna. But how to serve Krishna, how to please Krishna, how to depend on Krishna is shown only by Srimati Radharani. Her name comes from Aradhya, Aradhana, which is how to serve. The pinnacle of service is embodied in the form of Srimati Radharani. So if you want to depend on Krishna, you must take shelter of Srimati Radharani. She is, world, in football you have the Ballon d'Or, the Golden Ball, the greatest football player in the world, the person who sets the gold standard that everyone else aspires to. Every year for all eternity, the Ballon d'Or has gone to Srimati Radharani. She is the gold standard of service. Other people may say, follow this path, follow that path, do this, do that. No, you want to please Krishna? There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way by following Srimati Radharani. And how do we follow Srimati Radharani? We follow Srimati Radharani, who comes in the form of a devotee, as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna, who has come as Srimati Radharani to show the devotees of this age how to engage in Lord Krishna's service. So Ekanta, Radhika, Ashraya. And then second of all, from the teaching which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took from this Komar University, with the main professor being Nimbarka Acharya, he took the exalted mood of the gopis' love for Sri Krishna, Gopi Bhav, Gopi Bhav. So the mood, again, this is connected to that Radhika Ashraya. Gopi Bhartur Padakamalor Das Das Anudas. We aspire to be a servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis. Why? Because the gopis have no other business other than Krishna. They have no other business other than Krishna. And the gopis are the people. You see, Krishna has many friends. Krishna has parents and he has older people who are well-wishers. But Krishna also has his most beloved, his paramour, who are the gopis. And the wonderful thing about the gopis, Krishna also has servants as well, like menial servants who help him get dressed, to assist him with other things. Now, the thing about the gopis is that they give something that all the rest of them can't. They give a loving exchange as a young boy and young girl. But the gopis sometimes take care of Krishna if he's sick, just like a parent. And sometimes the gopis play pranks on Krishna, just like a friend. And sometimes the gopis serve Krishna, just like a servitor. Serve his feet, prepare him food. So they can do what everyone else can, but they can also do something which no one else can. So they are all encompassing the Madhurya Ras. The Madhurya Ras means it encompasses all other forms of service, but it also has a unique sweetness. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken these 8 different concepts and he's added 2 of his own concepts, which is that the deity worship we engage in is not just of Krishna, but is of Radha and Krishna. You'll see in other sampradayas, for those of you who have been to Vrindavan, there's a very famous temple in Vrindavan, which is known as Banke Bihari. Banke Bihari. Banke Bihari is the most crowded temple in Vrindavan. But you will never see, or you'll rarely see, Hare Krishna Gaudiya Vaishnavas in Banke Bihari. Why? Because Banke Bihari is Lord Krishna without Srimati Radharani. There is no Radharani there. Krishna there is in the form of a Sakha. He's in the form of Krishna with Balaram. And his mood is therefore not of Madhurya Ras. Now, of course, we have Krishna and Balaram in our temple, but we also have Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar. We will never have a temple just of Krishna and Balaram without Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar or without Gaur Nitai. Radharani is always in a Gaudiya temple, either in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or in the form of Radharani. Why? Because we are not aspiring for Sakhya Ras. We are not aspiring for Vatsalya Ras. We are aspiring for Madhurya Ras, or at least to assist Srimati Radharani in one of the other rasas. But we never say, Radharani, you're out the picture. That's not to say that some people engage with Krishna that way, but as followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we want to give Krishna the absolute best. And the personality who I've said is the gold standard year after millennium after millennium, for all time immemorial, Srimati Radharani. Therefore, we always focus on Radha Krishna worship. You will never see a deity of Krishna without Radha. And so Madhurya Ras is what Mahaprabhu emphasized, and also the worship of Radha and Krishna. So 10 concepts then. 10 concepts, 2 from each of the sampradayas, plus 2 extra ones, which is Madhurya Ras and Radha Krishna worship, makes 10. And that became the Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva. This Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva gives the full understanding of this verse 2:9:33, that I was always there, I will always be there. Now I am always here, I have always been here, and I will always be here in future. That is what this verse is trying to establish, that the Lord in his person is always there, and he is separate from the rest of creation. He is the source of the rest of creation. And when you can understand this concept, that is when Sambandha Gyan comes fully. When you understand that the Lord is a person, an eternal person, an eternal personality who has always been there, who is always separate from the living entities, yet still simultaneously the cause, that is when you're on your way in your bhakti. When there is some slight doubt and confusion, the Sambandha Gyan is not there. And like we said, if the Sambandha Gyan is not there, you've got an ingredient missing. If there's an ingredient missing, doesn't matter how many times you stir the ingredients, you're not going to get a cake at the end. Sambandha Gyan means the ingredients. Abhideya means stirring the right quantities, the right baking. And the prayojana is the beautifully formed cake of bhakti that is relishable for us and for all people that we encounter. When we have that cake of bhakti perfectly prepared in our hearts, not only do we enjoy it, but everyone we encounter just through our association will also enjoy it. That was the nature of Srila Prabhupada. He said people were spending millions and millions of dollars trying to get drug-addicted hippies off the drugs. And a few days, weeks in contact with Srila Prabhupada, even through his books, through his lectures, through his kirtans, they immediately gave it up. Why? Because Prabhupada had that beautifully formed cake of bhakti, prepared in his heart, in his words, in every kirtan. And people said, actually, I thought I could get happiness through the drugs, but this is the happiness I was set. This is the real happiness that I had been yearning for, and I didn't even realize it. So this Sambandha Gyan is very important. It will help us prepare the cake of bhakti and ultimately bake and enjoy the cake of bhakti in our heart and be able to spread it to all others. So there is so much to talk about on this verse. I thought that would be a good start. I've also said, and I haven't come to it again today, there is another purport on this verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. CC, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, first chapter, 53rd verse. 53rd verse. Srila Prabhupada goes through the same verse, but gives even more emphasis on the difference between the Supreme Lord and the soul. So please, I would encourage everybody to read that verse. I think we're pretty short for time, but if we have any questions, corrections, or comments, I'd be happy to field them now. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Thank you very much, Your Grace KrishnaArjun, for that beautiful class. It has really clarified so much things from previous. Thank you so much for that. I don't know whether there's any comments from the assembled devotees on that discussion.
So do we have any contribution? We have a Srila Prabhupada disciple with us today. I would, if there's no other pressing questions, I would like to see if His Grace Udayananda Prabhu has any comments, corrections, or questions or contributions to the class. Could we allow Udayananda Prabhu to speak? I think we need to Prabhu, if you hit the there you go. Yeah, we can hear you now, Prabhu.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So if I was grading that class on A through A, B, C, D, F, I would have to say that was A++. Very, very nicely presented. And I'm not biased at all.
Thank you.
But so I wanted to show something that will make, I don't know, can you see the deities? Can you see the altar? Or is it fuzzy?
It's blurred out, unfortunately, Prabhu. You've got the background on, so it's blurred.
Okay, how about this?
No.
Oh,
we can't
how
see
about that?
It's blurred out, Prabhu.
Oh, how do you do that?
I'm not sure.
Hold on one second.
No, it's on none.
Okay. All right. Can you see me?
We can indeed.
Okay. Can you see him?
No,
No?
it's blurred. But okay, Nitai Gonatharaj.
Yeah, you can see.
It's very blurred though, Prabhu. We can't really make it out.
You were talking about Radharani and that he's most dear to Krishna, and that Lord Chaitanya is Radharani, is Krishna in the mood of Radharani, Krishna of both. So we have Radharani here. Then we also have Lakshmi Nishinga. And of course, we talked about Sri Sampradaya. So here's Lakshmi Devi. Here, this is Nishinga.
Oh, wow. You see Nishinga now? Nishinga's, he just appeared. Oh, he's back. He's back. Jai. Shri Shri Lakshmi Nishinga Ji Ki Jai.
Here's Lakshmi Devi. And then, of course, we have our Brahma Sampradaya and Jagannatha Swami.
Wow.
Good. And here is Balaram, Lady Subhadra. And here is the Acharya, founder Acharya, Prabhupada.
Prabhupada Ki Jai.
And then one last thing I want to show is KrishnaArjun.
It's blurred, Prabhu.
How about that? Can you see that?
Yes. Oh, briefly.
There?
We can see kind of.
No?
No, not unfortunately not.
How about now? No?
No, no.
Anyways, it's a picture of KrishnaArjun being initiated by his Guru Maharaj, His Divine Grace Bhakti Charu Swami, here in this is Nitai Gaur Nataraj's ashram in California, and this is where KrishnaArjun was initiated into the Sampradaya. That was a picture of him getting his beads.
Okay, Prabhu.
So we have this.
This is what.
Anyhow, I wanted to show.
Very embarrassed, and I'm sure the devotees would. If there's anything more directly related to the class, that would be wonderful, Prabhu.
So no, this is directly related to the class, because Brahma is speaking. First of all, Lord Narayan is speaking to Brahma. Brahma is in a disciplic succession from Krishna, right? If you look in our Bhagavad Gita, our Brahma Sampradaya, the first person is Krishna, and then Brahma, and then Narada, and then so forth. So it comes all the way down to Srila Prabhupada, who gave the whole universe. He's the Jagat Guru. He's the spiritual master of the whole universe. And he then initiated his disciples, who have then initiated their disciples. And this is the continuation of the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. And so this class, and so why I wanted to show you is that just as it's stated here, that Krishna says, I, the personality of Godhead, was existing before creation. There's nothing but myself, nor was the material nature was not there, because he's the cause of this creation. And after, I will annihilate the personality of Godhead. So Krishna, in these chapter shlokis, also has the chapter shloki in the Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvar pravartate itibatma prajante mam buddhabhava samandita. That I am the source, just as Krishna says, he is the source of the creation. In this chapter sloka, he again repeats it to Arjun, that he is the source. And of course, then machita madgata prana. So again, the source, it starts with the sambandha gyan, first understanding who is the source, and then to engage, and then tesham satata yuktanam, which I am seated in everyone's heart, right? How is it? So you engage in the Abhideya Gyan, and then ultimately we see in the lives of our Sampradaya that people are relishing the higher taste, giving up the lower taste for the higher taste. So very pleased to see KrishnaArjun preaching so nicely. I am very pleased. I'm sure my best friend and godbrother, Bhakti Charu Swami, is very, very pleased. And all of you should be, first of all, you should take Tadvidi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upatesh Gyanti Te Gyanam Gyaninas Tattvadarshana. You should all take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, preferably in the organization of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, because Prabhupada was very, very, he said, please spread this movement, take shelter of those who are not fallen, and push on. And then this Bhagavatam becomes a realized, it's Gyan and Vigyan. Vigyan means it becomes realized knowledge, means it becomes living. And so that's what we're very happy to see KrishnaArjun preaching so nicely. And those that are hearing, they have to take it, and then that's Shravanam, you first hearing, Kirtanam, then you can speak. So the whole process, we're just seeing it's replicated, all the way back to the Bhagavatam, all the way back to, the foundation of the universe. And now the next generation, they have to carry that torch for it. And with this torchlight of knowledge, you can destroy the ignorance of this Kali Yuga and this material world.
His
Hare
Grace Udayananda Prabhu ki jai. ISKCON Eldoret ki.
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Nataraja's ashram ki. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare
Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Anything to add, Bhakta Mugo Prabhu?
Not really. I think thank you very much for that beautiful class. And also, the first thing she'll do is log in and see what nectar has been discussed today. Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hari Hari Bol.
Please, KrishnaArjun ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.